Yo, what is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown Your Questions, episode 170. I'm your host, Tony Polanco. I'm joined by Emilio Lopez,
Complete global saturation.
Chris Seeley,
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero,
What up, what up?
Brian Manjoma,
What's good, party people?
Brett Murdoch,
Hey, everybody.
and Adam Vale.
What's up?
All right, sorry for the little technical difficulty there. I keep forgetting to unmute these motherfuckers, and then when I try to unmute them, I accidentally stop this stream, but we were like 2 seconds in, so whatever. So welcome to another episode. Brian, man, welcome back. What were you up to last time, man? Were you saving the queen again?
I was off on a diplomatical mission in Southeast India.
Okay, that's intriguing.
Were you colonizing something?
Possibly so.
I was gonna say, did you go to a diplomatic mission to Wakanda, son?
I was gonna say diplomatic mission to Alderaan.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor. Take him away.
Yeah, Brian, have you seen Black Panther? Is it out there yet?
It's out actually this coming Thursday. Oh wait, sorry, Wednesday. Sorry, I think.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm like, dude, I thought you guys get him like 2 days earlier, not one, you know?
I thought
No,
they
like
got
1
him
week earlier. Usually. You know what? Let me just check.
Yeah. But are you excited, Brian?
Half and half. I'm excited because again, another entry in the MCU, so that is great. At the other time, I don't deal with the identity politics nonsense of other people, so yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to get into that, but apparently, Brian, out of everybody in this room, you're the only one that's allowed to actually watch this movie, according to some people online. Yeah, fucking.
Wait, I can't watch this movie?
No, you can't watch it, Brett. I can't watch it. Manny can't watch it.
Am I oppressing somebody again?
It's not for you, Brett. The movie's not for you, okay? It's for Brian specifically, just for Brian. Even
Wouldn't
though
that lead to like lower viewings in general and lower box office? I mean, and isn't that like the anti-good?
yes, it is, but yeah, we'll leave that on for now. Anyway, I'm gonna let some of you guys join us in a little bit, and I'm gonna ask you tonight. We're not gonna take any extra questions because we've already got a ton of them tonight, and we also want to play Monster Hunter. Let's just keep it real.
I was just about to say that's a big lie, Tony.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. We don't lie around here. We don't lie around here. We do have a lot of questions, and we do want to play Monster Hunter. This game is.
What if I want to play Shadow of the Colossus?
Yeah, you can play some. Yeah, you don't play nothing.
It's not like I can play anyway since everybody's all like 10 levels ahead of me and nobody wants to play with me on my level, yo.
Yo, man, you
I
need.
can help
Yeah,
you.
man, Brett's been doing that specifically. He's dragging all these dudes. He'll help you beat Andronath, man.
I already beat Antoinette, son.
By the way,
That's
shout
just
out.
become the running joke.
Yeah, by the way, but
You know what I am? I'm the middle guy. So you either go with your buddies at the high level or you go with the dinky guys at the low level. But the guys in the set straight in the middle, you're like, they're okay. We don't need to worry about them.
that kind of reminds me of America. I'm getting too deep right now, son. But anyway, by the way,
Yo, man, what do we call? What is this? The political down?
yeah, right. Hey, I'm
Too
just saying,
crazy.
in America, unless you're super rich or super poor, nobody knows about you. So, man, he's in that spot. You know what I'm
but
saying?
I'm in the middle class right now.
Yeah,
I
but
pay all my taxes. I pay the majority of the taxes in the country, but nobody gives a shit about us.
yeah. We were talking about taxes last night during the stream, by the way, which was very interesting. There was 2 occasions where I had to dip out of the stream to go, take a piss or whatever. I come back, these guys are getting to these deep conversations. I'm like, where the hell did this happen? Am I just here stupiding up the whole conversation? Because nobody was talking that shit when I was there. But anyway, speaking about the Anjanath, I want to give a shout out to Mr. Torrance Davis, who finally beat Anjanath, man.
Mm-hmm.
And he streamed his shit and everything,
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Nice.
And he's having a ball playing that.
He's loving it.
I was listening to a little bit of the podcast before we went on air with the first Throwdown streams on Friday, And I was just hearing how much fun he was having and how much hip hop gamer hates the game.
Yeah, of course. No, but remember, he doesn't hate the game. It's just that all of us who enjoy it are in denial, according to Hip Hop Gamer.
I mean, you said it. You got him to say that he doesn't like the game.
Yeah, but yeah,
so it's a personal thing for him. So, and he obviously he can't remove too much of his personal thoughts from the situation. So yeah.
But he did flat out say that everybody who likes the game is in denial that it's a bad game. He said that. Those are his words. You know.
Yeah, he's also got to be in. He's also probably not in. Probably in denial that GI Joe Resolute or whatever the fuck that game is that he gave a good name, a good rating to, is also in fact a game that he's in denial that is bad.
Oh. Oh
sorry,
man.
bro.
Keep it real. All right, man. Anyway, let's answer some questions. So first up is Big Daddy X, man, longtime fan of the show. You know, big supporter of us. Shout out to him. And he's asking us about Monster Hunter. Both of his questions are about Monster Hunter. And I've seen him playing and stuff. So his first question is, and this is kind of addressed to Hip Hop Gamer a little bit too. Do you really need friends to play and enjoy Monster Hunter? The reason he's asking is because Hip Hop Gamer said that the only reason we on Throwdown are enjoying it is because we play together. Nope. No. Sorry, dude. You could enjoy this game either way. You could enjoy it with friends or without.
Wait, I know a few other people on my list playing it, and they sent me invites, and they're like, "Yo, man, it's great when you play together. By yourself, not so much. I mean, it's just a regular killing game, but man, it's cool to talk shit and run around and kill monsters. So it's a party game."
But it's not though. You can enjoy it. Yeah, I wholeheartedly disagree with that. You can enjoy the fuck out of it alone.
People said the same thing about The Division, and it's a party game.
But that is a party game. Yeah, go ahead, Brett.
Same shit.
Last night when I fought Nergigante, Tony jumped in. That was the first time in the entirety of the game that I didn't solo a monster the first time I saw them.
We're talking about fun factor. We're not talking about if you can do it or not.
I'm talking about, and I had a great time. Like I enjoyed going in
playing by yourself than playing with Tony. Is that what you're saying?
My preferred way to play was to go in, beat a monster down by myself, so I could learn its mechanics properly, and then go back and farm it with other people.
So if he had jumped in and you didn't have already been, you would have kicked him out?
No.
What does that have to do with anything? You're missing the point, Adam.
What does that have to do with anything?
The point. No, but you're trying to say that the game is only enjoyable because you play with friends.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's more enjoyable with others.
It depends, though, because for example, but it's not a party game, though.
It is a party game. It's 4-player co-op.
No, but that's an option. You don't have to do that.
Yeah, as a party for fun. That's the whole point. You enjoy playing. You said it yourself. You enjoy playing with everybody. You're like, yo, we're all gonna play. You didn't say, listen, I'm gonna go play Monster Hunter without you guys. Can you just play amongst yourselves? You said, when this is over, we're all gonna go play Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
You enjoy it as a party game.
I do, and I also enjoy it solo.
But I also enjoy it solo.
Yeah,
that's
so
fine. But you have to see it for what it is.
But you're missing the point. Understand? Hip Hop Gamer is
the point.
No, you're not.
No.
Well, you're not. Listen. Let me hold on. Hip Hop Gamer is saying that you could only enjoy this game with a party. I'm saying you can enjoy it both ways. You can enjoy it both ways. You can enjoy it solo or with a party. Anyway, Brad, go ahead.
Adam, you're going to make me say this on air. Sometimes I prefer to play Monster Hunter alone. Even though I play with these guys and I enjoy playing with them, sometimes, especially after going back and helping people, all I want to do is an expedition by myself where I can run around, kind of collect some things, maybe fight a monster that I see. I enjoy playing alone.
That's exactly what I do. In fact, most of the time I'm mostly alone, just exploring the environments, and that's how I found all those different items with the cats and stuff.
Yeah, so, I'm the same way as Brett. Like every time I fight a monster for the first time, I always do it solo, right? Because I want to learn the mechanics. Then I jump into either other people's games or you know what I'm saying. Like that's how I choose to play it. But you could definitely, I know guys that playing the entire game solo and they're enjoying it. You could enjoy it either way. It's not just you know because he's trying to say that your game is only fun because you play people. No, that's bullshit. The game is fun either way. You know, that is complete bullshit.
Yeah, I'm one of those people that prefers playing it with other people. I'm kind of the opposite of Brett, but I can enjoy both of them still. And as far as what hip hop's saying, you can only play with your friends. Like even if you prefer playing with other people, that's why the SOS system is there. You can join any mission you want with other people.
Yeah, I do that a lot. I join, random people's SOS missions. I could grind for shit,
Yep.
I like going back and being the superhero, being the jolly cooperation, just dropping in on people's, SOSs when I'm not, helping buddies. Like I enjoy helping friends. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying Monster Hunter almost seems split into like two different kinds of activities, the kind that you can do alone or the kind you can do with friends and the kind that overlap. And, I don't want to give anybody the impression that, like, I don't enjoy playing with these guys. Like, I absolutely do. But there are some missions where you're just like, they're like, late at night, like you go off and play a little bit by yourself. So the cool thing about the game is actually that you can go do your own thing and then link up with some friends and then split off and do some different missions. Like if you watched our stream, you'll see that, especially like, we might have a group of 4, even just 4 people, so we can all do one mission, but we'll split off and 2 people do this and 2 people will do that. And then another person will jump in our session and 4 people will go do one thing and one person will go do the other thing and grind some stuff or collect some crystals or do an expedition or something like that. Like, it's not just the option to play by yourself or with other people. It's a weird kind of hybrid of both. So you don't need other people to enjoy this game.
That's the way most of those party games work.
That's why it's not a party game.
Yeah, it's not a party game.
Then what's the point of doing 4-player co-op? Why do they even have 4-player co-op? Why?
Halo had 4-player co-op.
Exactly, it's a party game. Do you understand what I'm saying with party?
I think we're getting hung up on the word.
You just get your friends to play. I don't see the problem here. I don't get it. If a game says, "Hey, 4-player co-op," just like a Wildlands and stuff, that means you and 3 of your buddies go have some fun. You could do side missions. You could do story mode. You're all hanging out. You're progressing together. It's a party.
So,
if you create a chat room and you had more than 2 people, you got a party. I don't see the.
So The Last of Us is a party game because I played it with friends looking while drinking beers.
There you want to do that with, but I'm saying if they incorporate where you can have multiple people doing the same thing or other things together in the same game, it's a party system.
So Halo 2
hold on. We're getting distracted. Why are we even talking about party systems when that was not the question?
I don't know. You guys were complaining because I said the word party as if I said some taboo word. I don't.
Just call it co-op because party sounds like you're talking about Mario Brothers or something.
No.
But anyway, the point is you can enjoy the game both ways. It's enjoyable both ways. It's meant to be enjoyed.
It's a party game. You can play it and have some.
Don't say that, man. They're gonna get hot. Don't say.
No, man. Put some Andrew WK on.
Yeah, right. Party.
Get 4 of your friends to be in the same room. That's a party, right? No. Not really.
Anyway, I think we answered that question. So move on to the next one, man. Okay, what DLC costumes or monsters would you like to see in the future? Of this game particularly. This is a good question because this is my first real Monster Hunter experience, so I don't know any of the past monsters. For DLC, you could toss in more Capcom people. That's fun. They had Ryu and Sakura coming in. They got Mega Man coming. So yeah, toss in more shit. Captain Commando, why not? I don't know.
I mean, their whole classic character roster could be a DLC idea for characters inside of their games. I mean, there was one Monster Hunter, specifically the one that was released around the same time as Peace Walker, which had Solid Snake or Big Boss in it, and you could dress the Trenya as Solid Snake, and you could have the boss from Metal Gear Solid 3 in there. So there's all kinds of things that they could do. I mean, we do have an Aloy skin eventually coming. So yeah, I mean, I would like to see Strider in there, to be honest. Strider, he would work real well with my sword.
Yeah, hey Manny, I got one for you, man. Chris Redfield, and he punches monsters in the face.
I don't, the thing is, I don't know if I don't remember them having specific moves. As far as skins go, I do remember them having, like, in other words, like you saw Ryu Sakura throwing fireballs. I think those are poses. I don't think they're actually actual moves that you can do as the character.
Like you also saw them doing Shoryukens and stuff, but that could be a pose too.
I think those are poses, and I think there might those in maybe replacement moves for certain heavy hits. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Either way, Chris Redfield in there. Actually,
you
could get Shiva in there with her African costume. She'll look perfect in there.
Oh no, man, that'd be a can of worms right there.
Yeah, it wasn't a can of worms 10 years ago, but now it is.
No, it was a can of worms then too.
Yeah, that is true. Adam Sessler. It's colonialism.
Would it have to be limited to Capcom characters?
I mean, they would have to
I
make
mean,
a deal.
like I said, they have Aloy coming, so why not?
Yeah, go ham, dude. Go ham, go crazy, make up characters, right? Come on.
I'm still trying to think.
Hey man,
Well-
for I mean, if Microsoft had I don't know if they have a little, they could make a little deal with Monster Hunter. You could get friggin' Master Chief and
Master Chief, yeah.
what's his face from Gears of War. You could put those two guys in there. That would be awesome.
Well,
Marcus,
it's-
yeah.
What
it's
about?
a good time for cross promotion. So Kratos should be in the Sony version.
Oh, I like that.
And get a guy from Crackdown or make
Sea
him
of
look like
Thieves.
Terry Crews and put him in the Xbox version.
Yeah, I got one animal. Like, how about the Predator? Get him in there. He can hunt the
That'd be
monsters.
cool.
You know.
Yeah, that would be cool. Oh, I like that one.
He also has to change the music whenever you play around with him.
Get Rambo.
Rambo, that'd be cool. Yeah, I'm gonna hunt monsters.
And he's just wearing the burlap bag from First Blood.
Yes. What
Got it.
monsters?
Do you guys think that they'll introduce new weapons in the game?
I think so.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know if have they done that before with other Monster Hunter games like DLCs?
Yes, they've had
Via
They
DLC,
have-
via DLC.
Yes, they have introduced weapons with like I said with the Metal Gear pack. There also came with some special Metal Gear weapon, the themed weapons
okay.
too. So,
Nice.
That's
I mean,
cool. Yeah.
if you remember, your cat also gets a specific weapon that comes with the whatever the tracer outfit he gets.
Yeah. Man, why not?
You just
That'd be
never
cool.
put it. You just never bothered to put it on him because it's not like the strongest weapon out there.
Yeah. What else do you guys want to see? Come on, man, get in there.
I see. There's a lot of armor, so I don't know if that's a thing. Maybe armor skins because you can only change the pigment. But it would be nice if like you could, if they're gonna put Aloy in, and you know how they have that hybrid tech shit on
Yeah.
their armor. It would be nice if that effect was across different armors. You know, like you see technological stuff instead of just glowy
Ooh.
stuff. You know, that might be neat. I don't think you need more armor because there's a lot of selection already.
Yeah, I think
I'd
they're
like
good with weapons too, to be honest.
I'd like to see some of the I mean, this is not anything, but I'd like to see some of the classic weapons come back from the previous Monster Hunter games.
Which
just as-
ones?
Which ones
I
are
mean,
missing?
I can't remember any of them specifically, but I know that there was quite a bit of ones that are missing from this game, and it would be
Yo,
nice.
man,
to-
like what?
to
Which
see them
ones,
come back.
man?
It'd be nice to see some of them come back.
Yeah, no, I
I'm
mean,
giving
I'm
the general thing.
I know. Okay, well, because you guys in the chat, let us know which one, because I believe they kind of have every weapon covered in this one. You know.
They have them covered, but the looks of those specific weapons and some of them are different.
Interesting. All right. Anybody else want to jump in on this?
The only thing I can
Yeah.
think is guts.
Guts would
They
be
already
cool.
got the Buster Sword.
Yeah,
You can put guts in there.
guts would be cool. Again, this is a little bit of a tricky question for us to answer because we're not
Or-
exactly
or-
versed in
or you
Monster
could-
Hunter.
Or you could put like a Bloodborne thing in there. He'd fit in there. The Bloodborne guy.
Well,
You
they
know,
already.
that hunter outfit kind of looks like Bloodborne.
Yeah, it kind of
Oh
does.
yeah, that one does with the long nose that it has.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it has that pioneer cap or
Yeah.
whatever it is.
yeah. What's going
Yeah,
on, Chief Tomei? Yeah, Black Panther. What happened? Who's reaching? What are you talking about? I'm looking at the chat right now. All right. Anyway, okay, so let's move on. Again, we can't go too deep because this is our first real Monster Hunter experience. But yeah. Anyway, moving on to G Megaforce 123. All right. So his first question is Shadow of the Colossus on the PS4 the new gold standard for remakes? The game looks so sick. All of the changes feel right for it. Not just the graphics, but the controls too. I hope this sets a new standard for remaking our beloved masterpieces. What do you think, Throwdown? Is this the new gold standard for remakes? Before you guys answer, I want to ask him a question. Did you see our stream? Because we flat out said that during the stream, you know? Yeah, man, it's definitely a gold standard. Like, Manny, you go ahead. You're getting deeper into this shit than I did, but why do you think this is like a really good example of how to do a remake a game?
Well, I mean, it's essentially made the way you kind of if you were an original fan, it kind of remember and you haven't played the game in a while, it kind of looks the way you somewhat remember the game looking.
in your
I
mind.
mean, if you kind of go back to it, I mean, it's still a really nice looking game, but it's rough. Its edges are a bit rough. And I mean, a lot of times, when you start releasing these sorts of remasters here, in the modern times, people can be very judgmental on graphics that are not current gen. If you remember, with the Last Guardian, a lot of people were very harsh on that game because they said, "Oh yeah, it looks like a PS3 game or something like that." So it definitely does help to preserve these sorts of games for the next generation, for people who wouldn't normally go back and play a game like Shadow of the Colossus. It also assures that, for future generations, if they ever do decide to release the thing again, it'd be a very acceptable version of the game.
Yeah,
remaster it again.
Yeah, you could basically, this is going to be the new standard in that sense too, where if you need to remaster for PS5 or whatever for 8K TVs, you have a really good baseline. You don't have to go back to the PS2 version. And I also like the fact that the game, it's a remake, but it still preserves the core of the original. It's not like drastically different or anything.
They didn't. The thing is, and that's the one thing about this game, is that there's a confusing sort of advertising that kind of goes with this, where they say something like "from the ground up." No, the game was not created from the ground up. In fact, they are using the original engine underneath all of the wonderful fancy effects that are on top of it. So it's Blue Point's engine and it's the original Shadow of the Colossus engine working together to produce the imagery, which is an insane way to work, because I mean that can easily go bad.
Yeah, it can, but they made it work, man.
They made it something because they knew how well this thing works and how certain things they could change out and rework and still not have it kill it. I mean, from what I heard, an interview from them, when they got the go ahead, to get the game for PS4, they literally said they got the original Shadow of the Colossus working on the PS4 in a day.
Wow.
So they had that thing running on PS4 perfect in a day. And then they said that there was actually a point where you could actually switch between the original Shadow of the Colossus and the new version that they were doing to kind of check parity between them.
Chief Tomei in the comments says that people are saying it's a Rush remake. What people, bro?
Where was it a Rush remake?
I think this must be a straw man argument, because I've never even seen that.
Yeah, that's definitely a straw man. Well, they said that they began working on this thing close to when the PlayStation 3 started. I mean, PlayStation 4 started. So maybe a few years off, but yeah, it took them a while to do it.
I want to give it.
And granted, they are a fucking small team. They're not like as big as the team the Ueda's team that made the original game. Oh, go for it. Carlos.
Yeah, I wanted to give a shout out to the Halo Combat Evolved remake. When Manny said about how the developers were switching the Shadow of the Colossus like from the old to the new style, like you could do that on the Halo Combat Evolved remake. Like while you're playing, like you could be playing the remake and then just press a button and it'll go back into like how the old game looked, which was pretty sick. So yeah, this, like I beat a couple of Colossi for Shadow of the Colossus remake, and man, it's gorgeous. Like and it's even more impressive when, like how Manny said, they're using a lot of the same code that they used before. They're just adding their like touches on it, like they're touching it up, and it's making it look great on a freaking 4K TV. So
which begs to ask that. Yeah, I mean, going back to the question, like, is this the gold standard? I mean, it will definitely spoil people if, like the rumors say that they're going to happen, that I think Archer is going to be remaking Metal Gear 2, the Metal Gear HD collection. Now, if they come out of the gate with a game that looks like it came off of a PlayStation 2 without any real improvements, that might be a little bit of a hard swallow now with something like Shadow of the Colossus coming out there. A game that came around the same, actually after the third game came out, pretty much.
So will they not remake what's it called? One?
You mean Eco?
No, Metal Gear.
sorry,
Metal Gear.
Metal Gear 1.
That's
Solid
that's a bigger jump. To be honest,
that's-
that in fact needs a full on remake. I mean, they could just use the one that they made for GameCube and rework that one again, but that one is the hard one because Kojima's not around anymore. It might be a little bit of a weird take. I mean, a lot of people, as much as people love the original one, a lot of the fans do have problems with the GameCube version of Metal Gear because it's not. It's a remake, but there's a lot of changes that he did that a lot of fans do not like, which I am one of them. I don't like some of the changes.
They changed the music, man.
They changed
It
all the
was so perfect. In
they
the
changed yeah they
PlayStation
changed
version.
they changed all the music to something else. They also did these crazy cockamamie cinematics where like Snake is backflipping off of fucking walls and shit. I'm like, no, Snake is a normal guy. He's not a Superman. So, yeah. But yeah, I mean, hopefully it does that. I mean, but here's a weird thing. Like, you look at the stuff that Square Enix is doing, they're just kind of cleaning up. They just put out the Zodiac Age, right? The was it Final Fantasy 12?
Yeah.
And I mean, all they really did to it
That's
was
a
they just kind
remaster.
of bumped up the texture work on it, and that's about it.
Yeah, that's a remaster though. That wasn't remake.
Yeah,
Well, and they're remaking Final Fantasy 7.
they're remaking Final Fantasy 7. Yeah.
So I wonder what that'll do because if you think about it, Shadow of the Colossus is a 2005 game that was remade, and it's pretty much the same game. It just has a coat of paint on it.
Yeah, it's like you just kind of like you touched it up a lot. You know what I mean?
You know what?
Yeah,
know what I'm thinking right now, Carlos. The way you described it, it's like a restoration. That's what they did with Shadow of the Colossus. You know, with Final Fantasy VII, you need to build that whole house over again. Basically,
Yes. There's no way you can reuse any of those assets.
Yeah, you can't.
And that's exactly what needs to happen with a game like Metal Gear. If they were to redo of a Metal Gear again, they need to go back to formula and do it from there because they cannot use pretty much any of that old PlayStation 1 stuff. The funny thing about like the end of the PlayStation 2 era, like you can kind of get away with kind of remastering all that stuff, and it with the decent with some nice texture work, and it looked pretty damn good. We're talking about Zodiac Age and the Metal Gear games, and all those games are of a certain quality. Whereas if you just give them a nice, a general cleaning up, they'll look pretty good.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. All right, man. Let's move on here to the next question. This is a funny one. Let me just finish reading the whole thing. It's a little bit involved too, the way he writes it out. Can we all agree that quote unquote retro side scroller is the new term for shovelware? I say this because I was checking out the new highly reviewed game Celeste, and from all the clips I've seen, it looks like every other retro side scroller. Nothing about it looks unique. Nothing about it looks interesting. It just feels like someone cheaply put it together so they could try to make a profit off this retro fad. I, for one, am not falling for this trick anymore. Tell me how you really feel, bro. I don't know. I don't really agree with that, to be honest.
How old is this person? I would like to know.
That's a good question.
I feel like sometimes the retro fad thing, that sounds like the words of a younger person who didn't grow up in that sort of age.
Because it's not really
games.
Yeah, it's not really a fad. It's just a style of game. It's a style game. It's not really a fad. No, I don't have a problem. I don't believe they're shovelware.
Because you can apply the same thing to like games like, and it's not like this one, but it's kind of it takes kind of like stylistic style like Far Cry, Blood Dragon, or Hotline Miami. Like you can say those are kind of retro inspired, but they wouldn't necessarily be shovelware. They're great games.
I'm wondering, do you think he calls them shovelware because of the fact that he doesn't like them?
Well, probably because he doesn't like how they look.
Yeah. Go ahead, Adam.
Well, yeah, I don't think he likes the genre. I think it sounds like it. Like he's not really into it, and he feels like this is just another one in the books,
Yeah, by the way, quick shout out. Manny, hold on. Quick shout out to Prime Nim over on Mixer. We usually don't get a lot of comments from Mixer.
What's up, Mixer?
He says Super Metroid is the best side-scrolling game ever. That's a classic right there.
That is a classic.
Anyway, sorry, Manny, go ahead.
I would say. I mean, some people, you would say probably the same thing about first-person shooters. Oh, it's another one in line of those first-person
And there are
shooters.
people that say that too. There are people that
Yeah.
say
I
that.
don't think that's where the question's coming from though. Like I don't think he's necessarily saying that all side-scrolling, pixel games are shovelware. But I would agree with him that because they are relatively cheap and easy to make, that you do see an awful lot of bad ones. So out of any genre of game, you see more, like the percentage of good ones versus bad ones is heavily tilted towards bad ones in retro style side scrolling games, because it doesn't take much to make them. So you see them all over Steam for $3 fucking. So yeah, I mean that's kind of the definition of shovelware. A bad game that's quickly made and thrown in the bargain bin. That's what we call that shovelware at Walmart. Why would we not call that shovelware on Steam? But that doesn't mean that every side-scrolling, retro game is bad. There are some that are really good and made with love, and some of them are the best games of all time. But I would agree that there's an awful lot of bad ones.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you can say that about any genre.
Yeah, you can.
But the most about that one though.
I mean, there's a lot of first-person shooters that just suck ass.
There are, but like title for title, there's probably 10 bad side-scrolling pixel games on Steam for every bad shooter you can name. So many that we don't even know them. We can't even name them. They're just the shit on the Steam list that pad out that you never see or never pay attention to. But they're there.
Yeah, quickly, I can't read your name because it's all in Japanese. We're not taking any extra questions today, but thank you for joining us. Brad, I see what you're saying, because those games are. I don't want to say they're easier to make, because I'm not a game developer. I don't know.
They're cheaper to make.
I'm not trying to make that jump, but at the same time, you do see a ton of. Here's another Metroidvania game. You see a ton of those, right? But at the same time, like you said, not all of them are bad. So you can't just shove the entire genre under the bus,
And he mentioned a specific game too.
Yeah, Celeste, which is a highly praised game. Apparently, I never heard of this game, but yeah,
10. People are loving it.
Yeah.
So what I would say is that indie games have a shit ton of shovelware. There, for every 90 indie games, there's a couple of gems in the pile. But that's not just just because a side-scrolling retro style game is an indie game doesn't mean that it's the only one guilty of that. I've seen that happen across all different kinds. Cell shaded games, first person puzzle games. There's just a slew of terrible games, but that's the nature of indie games. There's some really awesome ones and there's some really terrible ones. But you can't just limit that to side-scrolling retro games.
Yeah, I'll agree with you about the indie thing. It's like, there's a lot to wade through,
Yeah, that's like the lowest common denominator for game development. So any person that is getting into the game industry, that is creating their game for the first time and releasing it to the public, pretty much is an independent game. So yeah, most of the bad ones are going to come from there, but not necessarily all. Like all of them are. Yeah,
and I don't think there's a quote unquote fad either. I totally disagree with that one, because I don't see it.
It's a genre. Like I mean, if you want to consider a genre a fad.
Yeah, maybe we want to consider a genre a fad. I mean, I just feel like it's just another one of the genres that just kind of came back, and just I do agree with Greg. It's like it is a little bit lighter on the development side, but there is also just like anything, there is also that chance that they are not very good games, but that's like anything,
Yeah, basically.
You have a whole bunch of first person shooters come out. You all of a sudden you don't start thinking, hey, wow, first person shooters are all horrible. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. We'll move on to the next question here from my man Mebs, who actually hit me up over PSN, because he said his laptop was fucked up. So he was like, "Can I just ask you questions here?" I'm like, "Go ahead, bro." And he's a longtime fan too. Mad respect. So his first question is, would you say that Street Fighter V has had a resurgence since the release of Arcade Edition? And also connected to this, do you feel like Capcom can save Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, given how it's been dropped from the EVO tournament? All right, a couple things here. Yes, arcade mode, for Street Fighter is finally the game that should have been released 2 years ago. They finally gave it to us, which is good. So it definitely has saved Street Fighter on that end. But yeah, going back to what happened with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, yes, the game was dropped out of Evo. It's no longer Evo. They have Smash Brothers in there, but no Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite because the fighting community didn't exactly take to it. So can you save the game? I'm going to be honest. I don't think you can. I think that game it's fundamentally flawed. Like it's too catered to like casuals. The visuals are all messed up. This hasn't been corroborated yet, but rumors say that the game was actually in fact rushed. They reused animations from previous games and everything. They rushed that shit out the window. So I don't think you could actually save that game. The only thing that could save the franchise is a brand new entry. That's the only thing. And now that Marvel owns X-Men and all the other shit, you're probably gonna get the X-Men back in the game because that's the other thing that hurt the game. No X-Men. Where people have been using these characters for almost 20 years. They were just gone because of licensing bullshit. So you can't save. Yeah, my point is you can't save this particular game. But you could bring back the franchise. Marvel, I'm telling you, it's going to happen. Marvel vs. Capcom 4, they're going to bring that back. Just like they're bringing back Devil May Cry 5, going to be Marvel vs. Capcom 4. Watch. Go ahead, Manny.
The sad thing about the thing is that it's just so stooped in that mandate that they essentially reinserted into the in the industry that no other content can represent these characters. Who gives a shit? You're still making fucking money off of these goddamn characters, and as long as you're not putting Hugh Jackman or movie Deadpool in the damn game, then it doesn't matter. Make your money. Sell the fucking toys with all these dumb characters, with all those characters out there. But they're so involved in trying to make push these movies, and that the movie universe is the only thing that anybody should think about. That's an idiotic idea. To be honest, it's like if because officially, for years, Marvel had the right to do an X-Men show, so they could have done an X-Men show and said fuck the movies, but they didn't, which is stupid.
Marvel could actually do an X-Men show right now.
Well, now they can because they own.
No. I mean, they could. The point is, like, they could do it anytime you want because they only owned the license to the movies. But the thing is, from what we've heard, they were salty about the whole deal. So they're like, "Fuck it."
Which is because they wanted to collect more of the money off it. And to be honest, I don't think that's Marvel. I think it's more of the guys up top who control the Marvel part of stuff.
Yes,
and it's those guys saying, "No, we shouldn't promote these things that are from other companies." What happened? Like, this is all just only in maybe the most recent 5 years they've started doing this sort of silliness.
Yeah, exactly. Because think about it. Let's just be honest here. If it was up to Capcom, they'd have all those X-Men characters in there.
Yeah, they probably got the mandate from coming down from the hallowed halls of Marvel Entertainment saying, no, you can't have Wolverine or the X-Men. But wait a minute, we had Wolverine and a bunch of the X-Men in the last game. No, you can't do that in this one.
I think that's why they called it Infinite instead of 4. I believe that's why, I mean, they were putting fucking Miss Marvel up as one of the main characters. No one cares about Miss Marvel. Come on, son. Let's just be real here.
I don't even remember her, to be honest. I don't actually remember her being in the previous game.
She wasn't. This is her first appearance. No, she never was.
Oh, this is her first thing? I could have sworn she was in the other one.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but she is not in those games as far as I know.
She's not? Okay. Well, she was replacing somebody, right?
Jean Grey. She Phoenix. Excuse me. Jean Grey.
Okay. She was replacing Phoenix. All right. Sure.
Whatever.
The thing, it's a difficult. The sad thing about it all is it ended up, they ended up throwing in a bunch of characters that people weren't a big fans of. I mean, Miss Marvel is a title right now, but a lot of people don't really care that much of the character. She doesn't have the heft of somebody like a Wonder Woman. If Marvel had a character like Wonder Woman in there, they had She-Hulk.
But they did. It's called Storm, and they took her out because she's not fucking. You know what I'm saying? It's because she's one of the X-Men.
But I mean, they removed She-Hulk too, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
because she's not in the movie. Think about it. Every Marvel character in here, except Nova, is in the movie. Think about that.
Yeah, they're all the movie characters. It's like, why? I don't care. Like, number one, it's like I personally liked that they threw She-Hulk in the last game, and I'm like, I wish that they kind of doubled down and added Storm and all the other characters that you saw from the previous Marvel versus games, but it's just like they kind of like wiped everybody off the table and then just did there. And then the Capcom roster is kind of lousy. I mean, I love Strider and everything, but the thing is that they just got rid of a bunch of other characters that were really cool in there.
Can't they throw in the Bion Commando guy?
Yeah, the Bion Commando guy
He's
for some
there.
reason is in there again.
Oh, okay.
And nobody gives a shit about that fucker. Come on. Nobody remembers that game. And
Well, they
I don't
didn't
know
even
anything.
use the cool version from the side-scrolling one. They're still using the dreadlock.
they're still
version.
using fucking Mike Patton.
Yeah.
Did he come back to do the audio work? That would be
Nah,
awesome.
I'm sure they. I mean, I'm sure. I wonder if they did. I'd like to. I'll probably look that up. But yeah, they threw in all these characters that nobody cared about. Like if they threw in Bionic Commando from from the remake they did with the glasses and shit and the high tops, that would have been awesome. Nope, it's that same. It's it's that same dude. So I feel like there's a lot of things that went wrong with that Marvel versus Capcom, and including the fact that all their favorite characters have been removed, and the fact that the game was just not. They tried and in vain to try to make the game toward casuals, which the hilarious thing is that I am not I don't consider myself a hardcore fighting game player, but I do like fighting games. And when I feel like that's part of the fun of those sorts of games is getting to know your favorite character, instead of pressing the win button and just and them immediately doing the combo. In fact, Marvel vs. Capcom, I haven't liked those games since the at least the first one. First and I think the second one when they started removing buttons, I started getting annoyed about that shit.
Yeah, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was the one that removed the buttons, and that's I've always say my favorite Marvel vs. Capcom game of the Marvel vs. Capcom series is the first one. Obviously, the versus my favorite versus is still X-Men versus Street Fighter. That's still the ultimate one. But yeah, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, they started removing buttons and shit. Like, what are you guys doing, man?
Yeah, like I'm where's my 6 buttons? I want to do my 6-button combo. So now you press the middle button twice, and it does the middle and the hard punch. I'm like, especially with a guy like Tony who mostly uses the hard buttons.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, those games kind of got lost with me because they just became combo fest. You know me, I don't like doing big combos anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, man, let's move on. That game, you cannot save that game. The game's done.
I don't think you can save it. The best way to do is do like do like they say, go back to formula, get all the things that everybody liked from the previous games, and do that shit, not this thing.
I'm calling it right now. Marvel vs. Capcom 4 will be the next game, and it's going to have X-Men in it. I guarantee you that's going to happen. All right. Next question, and this is also about Shadow of the Colossus related. Okay. Do you think we'll see more remakes like Shadow of the Colossus from Sony's back catalog? If so, what games do you think deserve the remake treatment? I'm going to jump to Brian on this one, man. Brian, what game from Sony's backlog do you think needs to be remade? Brian, are you here, man? Guess he's saving the queen again. All right, Carlos, what about you, man?
Skip me. The questions were mixed up, so I'm changing the order.
Oh shit! All right, Chris, go ahead, get in there.
I'd remake the first two SOCOM games.
Yeah.
The U.S. Navy SEALs games. Bring those back. Yeah, I figured that's what he'd say. For me, I would Legend of Dragoon. I'd bring that back. If Final Fantasy VII can come back, then you could remake Legend of Dragoon, because that was a pretty good RPG, and there hasn't been another one since PS1. I can't think of anything. I don't want like Twisted Metal back. I don't care about that.
Yeah.
Like I'm just trying to think, because there's still stuff in Sony's backlog that's still alive. But yeah, so I mean, God of War obviously is coming back, so I can't think of anything else but those right now.
Actually, this one right here, I mean, it's a PlayStation exclusive, but it's not PlayStation. Xenogears, that doesn't really count. That's a Square game. You know?
It's funny that you mentioned Xenogears because Square in Japan just announced that they're going to be making Xenogears figures.
Oh, okay. It's yeah, let's stick with Sony first party IPs, guys. You know?
Sony first party RPs.
Warhawk. I really enjoyed Warhawk for the PS3. It's one of the few like multiplayer games that I actually enjoyed in the PS3. I don't know. I like the air combat and the vehicles are fun too, and yeah, I would say Warhawk be one of them.
I'm actually kind of blanking on this one. Shawan says Ark the Lad. Was that Ape Escape? That's kind of
was it?
yeah.
Was that a Sony?
Ape Escape, yeah.
Yeah, Ape Escape is
No, that's
Konami.
Konami.
That's Konami. That's Konami.
No,
man.
that's Konami. Yeah,
Come
you're
on,
right.
guys.
Wait, hold on.
Ape, yeah. I guess give God of War a remake. You know, like a real remake. You know. You know, but I'm saying that like, I don't know, because it's already really good as it is. You know. I don't know.
No, the publisher of Ape Escape, is Sony Computer Entertainment.
Oh, I understand that, but who's the developer?
The developer, I don't know who the developer is, but it says Sony Japan Studio.
Okay, I guess that counts then.
So yeah.
All right.
I always thought it was Konami on that.
By the
No,
way,
it was.
By the way,
the later publishers are Ubisoft.
Yeah. By the way, I just realized that this year, okay, basically, Shadow of the Colossus is this year's Crash Bandicoot. That was last year's remake too. If you think about it.
All right, I got a 1-2 punch. Remake the original Siphon Filter, and then bring us the new game.
Oh, there you go. You know, for the fuck of it, remake the Jack and Daxter games. You know, why not?
Yeah,
Like-
you can do that. You can go from the thing like like a lot of their their mascot games could do a nice remake. I mean, they even did a remake of the original Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, that's an interesting remake because it's a remake, but it's also a new game too.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
so
it's a semi new, it's a renewed game. Yeah, you know, there's so many. I mean, like, shit, I'd like to see them bring back Loaded.
Yeah, Loaded was fun.
Loaded was a cool
The
game.
first one. I know. I mean,
Yeah, the original one. Reloaded was kind of stupid.
Yeah.
What about you,
Was
Adam?
killing people in like an insane asylum, remember? And there were blitz splatting all over the padded rooms.
Yeah, it kind of in a weird sort of way. It kind of reminded me of that Dead game, Dead Nation. Was it called?
Well, yeah, it's one of those twin.
Yeah, it's like those top-down cyber shooters. Yeah.
Yeah, Adam. What about you, man? What games you want?
There's really nothing. I mean, damn. The one game, I don't remember the name. I was trying to find it. They did publish a skateboard game when they were trying to compete with the Tony Hawk series.
You sure that's not the one that was made by Sony?
That was
I mean, not the Sony one, by Konami.
No. Remember that there was the one that I brought to your house years ago. I was like, oh, look at the skateboard game. We were like, man, this plays just like Tony Hawk, but it wasn't. It was a PlayStation. It was produced by PlayStation, but I'll find the name of it. It had Danny. No, not Danny Wu was in it. But I'll find it. I'll find the name.
It wasn't. No, Thrasher was Rockstar.
No.
Hey, Manny, here's one for you. Master Shake says Bloody Roar.
Bloody Roar. You want to hear something, Master Shake? So you know Hudson Soft during the earthquake, right? Hudson Soft is the creator of the game Bloody Roar and a bunch of other games. Oh, Bomberman, by the way. They were so badly affected by the earthquake that they pretty much sold all their assets to Konami.
Oh,
So
shit.
if you want to see a new Bloody Roar game, you just got to talk to Konami.
Oh man, that's bad, dude. Sard is great says Colony Wars.
Colony Wars. All right, that's a bit of a blast from the past.
How about Command and Conquer?
That's Sony. That was in a Sony game.
That was in a
Oh.
Sony game.
I forgot we were talking about.
To be honest, I was going to say Return Fire, but then again, that's not a Sony game either.
Hey, what about Jumping Flash?
I feel like there's not a love. I can't say there's.
I never
not a
liked that
love.
game.
I can't say that game would cause a lot of ripples. So I couldn't see Sony doing it. But to be honest, if you think about it, that is the perfect title for VR.
It is. It really is.
It literally is it's like a VR, like it would be pretty good for VR, but I'm sure everybody's gonna get dizzy and start puking with that one. Was Tony? I mean, Adam, was the game called Too Extreme?
Nope. I think it was Shredded or something.
It wasn't Skate or Die, was it?
No, Skate or Die is that's not even them.
That's
just
a
like Tony
Nintendo game.
Hawk, and it had the Brooklyn Banks in it. It had a lot of famous New York spots. I'm like, oh man, this game is awesome, and they just only made that one. Hold on, let me
Yeah,
look it up.
Sly is showing. They remade Sly Cooper. They did a really good job with that. That was Blue Point too, wasn't it? Yep, Blue Point, man. I'm telling you, dude, it's crazy. All right.
No, it was it was Blue Point, and then the Sly it wasn't Blue Point. The guys who did the Sly collection did the new Sly Cooper game, and that wasn't Blue Point.
Oh yeah, that's right. Adam, was it Grind?
Grind. Yep.
All right, there you go.
Looking it up
Thank
now.
Kenbo, my man Kenbo. What's up, brother?
You see Kimbo, so he knows that was an awesome game.
Yeah, ESPN Extreme. What the fuck?
That one.
Yeah.
That was for the first PlayStation. You had losing and stuff like that in it. It was dumb.
Yo, they have curling though, man.
No. Oh, did you see they had
Everybody's
mixed
getting
curling?
all up in the
Did you see
curling
that?
now.
Wait, did you see it? They had mixed curling in this Olympics. Like that matters.
Mixed curling?
Mixed curling. Yeah, men and women curling.
Oh, okay, sure.
Okay,
Why not? You know, how's it? Hey, what's going on, Kenbo? Chilling, brother, chilling. You already know, man. Okay, so anybody else want to jump in? What other PlayStation properties you want to see get a remake, like Shadow Colossus?
Okay, I have one. It's not quite PlayStation, but I still think it's worthy of a remaster. Katamari.
Or Katamari Damacy
Yes.
remake? Yeah, I mean,
Yes, I would love to see just what they can do with an actual powerful engine and how far they can just go with that.
Brett would lose
Concept.
his damn mind.
So would I.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah. We need another Battle Arena Toshinden. Wasn't because that came to Saturn, so it's not a exclusive, you know.
That wasn't a Sony game either.
Yeah, but I have been saying, yo, bring that back, man. But I think Soul Calibur kind of took the spot of that, to be honest.
The funny thing about Battle Arena Toshinden, it is a lot of the people that went into Soul Calibur and Tekken.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
So that's why you never saw another one of those games, is because they just kind of went out and did their own thing.
Yeah.
In fact, the crazy thing about Tekken is that's the Virtua Fighter guy that
Yeah.
did that game.
Wait, who Yu Suzuki?
No, not Yu Suzuki, but it was another key player on the original Virtua Fighter.
Wait, was Harada on Virtua Fighter? That'd be crazy.
I can't remember, but all I know is that not the Harada only inherited that guy from the guy who created Tekken. By the way, he didn't create Tekken.
Gotcha.
He only inherited. He's like the way the guy who created Castlevania is also always attributed to Castlevania.
Yeah, Igarashi did not create Castlevania.
Igarashi did not create Castlevania, and he essentially inherited Castlevania and made Symphony of the Night.
Yeah, hey Brett, here's one for you, man. Bushido Blade.
Ooh,
That's a Square game,
God damn it.
Oh damn. Okay, that doesn't count then. You know.
or as we used to call it back in the day, Bullshito Blade.
Oh, yeah.
Just for the plain fact that you die in one hit.
Yeah, people.
How the fuck did you do that? Rematch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know how I beat that game? I figured out that in that game, because each level is another level forward, and you can run into each level if you wanted to, right? And then you would continue your fight. So the quick way to skip to the final boss in Bushido Blade is literally go in the first guy and make sure you run as long as possible until you get to the area that was right before the last boss. You beat the guy that you first fought in the first level, and then you instantly get to the last boss.
By the way, even though this is from Software, Demon Souls, man.
Demon Souls is actually a first party game.
Yeah, because they published it. Yeah.
That is deserving of a remake, complete remake. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely can do that.
I'm surprised nobody said that shit in this fucking
Chris,
channel.
Chris
you know?
might be interested in that.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
just maybe, you know.
I feel like
Yeah, how did I not say that? God damn it.
I feel like if they were able to combine the original, a lot of the the aspects that people loved about the original Demon Souls and incorporate the things that people have learned to have that love from the previous sorts of games
or subsequent games, you mean?
the subsequent, the subsequent games, I definitely think it'd be like that would definitely work with people.
Yeah, for sure. I know Brett will jump over that shit. All right.
Yeah, maybe I'd try it out.
All right. Let's move on to Mr. Damien Percival.
What's up, Damien?
And he's not mad at us this week, so this is good. All right. So this is an interesting one. Let me just, ask the whole question here. Okay. With the recent rumors by Final Fantasy 15 director that the next generation of consoles might be cloud-based and the terrible failure that was PlayStation Now, do you think Sony will take the chance and follow this model? Or, based on the monstrous success of the PS4, which stuck to the formula of being a traditional game console, will Sony stick to the traditional console and leave the game streaming service as an option? Will they try the cloud service with modifications like Game Pass? A lot of shit in there, but let's break it down. First of all, PlayStation Now, even though none of us here really care for it, and it actually is a success. You can't really deny that. People are subscribed to it, and it makes Sony a lot of money. I don't like PS Now. None of the guys here really like it, but it is, it's a success. Now, will Sony make a cloud-based gaming system? I doubt it. I seriously doubt it.
I don't think anybody would be.
Nah.
I don't think anybody would decide to do a cloud-based system.
You saw what happened when Xbox tried something similar. That shit did not fly.
Yeah, I definitely think that it's going to be a little bit more of the same thing, just with kind of better graphics. I think when you start people start to get a little I mean here's the thing is, I guess, as long as you start getting it into people's heads and there are no more real games, but I feel like there might be a back pull on it if anybody decided to do something like that.
Yeah, no, so I don't think,
and not to mention the stores would be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, the next the PS5 is going to be a traditional console. Don't worry about that. No one's going to go.
It's going to be more of the same thing with better processing power and better and higher graphic fidelity and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, but here's the problem. Like, you're never going to be able to download games onto your console the way that you can with Steam, I don't think. In the sense that the open way where you don't have to launch Steam, it doesn't have to connect online, it doesn't have to verify. I don't think they're ever going to get that type of service up. It's not that they couldn't. I just don't think that the closed nature of consoles is going to do that. That inevitably leaves them with needing to have online checks or needing to have registration. That's all well and good, but from playing Monster Hunter, it's infuriating when PSN goes down. And if my entire game library were tied to having to be online or having to check online, like if my internet went out for 3 days, then I'm just fucked. So unless consoles are willing to be a little bit more open about, being able to just pull the save data directly off your console without having to check in, which opens them up for more piracy, honestly. I don't think that that's going to be an idea that will float.
They can have it where it downloads, and it also downloads a certificate that has an expiration date on it, in which it has to check with the online, like maybe a month. So let's say you download the game, you have it in a month, you have it where you could have it disconnected. Something happens, it'll never really ask you to connect until.
I think a month would be fair, but they were talking 72 hours when Xbox launched.
Nope, that's horrible.
It wasn't 72 hours. It was 24 hours.
That's not right. I mean, if you have a power outage, that's going to surpass that. So.
Yeah, they called it a digital handshake. I love how they try to make it better, sanitize it. It's a handshake.
Yeah,
that's all.
Handshake. I mean, again, that guy from Square Enix, he would love it to be to everything to be cloud based, because it wouldn't mean that they would not need to spend any sort of money on friggin' manufacturing any sort of games. They could pull it off of it, pull it off the cloud, and just not ever have it on there again, and then sell it to you later.
When Walmart stops selling your console, where are you going to pick up this console that downloads all these games?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then the other thing is, because this ties into questions that we've gotten many times about, is digital future? No, because the infrastructure isn't there yet. Imagine if gaming is just cloud-based. For the sake of argument, it's just cloud-based, right? What if you have shitty internet, right? Which our internet in America is fucked up. It can't work. So Sony's not going to do something stupid. It's like, oh yeah, all our games are going to be streaming on this little box. They're not going to do that, bro. That's stupid.
I don't think anybody would, unless somehow
nobody's going to do that shit.
Somehow the infrastructure leaps by leaps and bounds into the future. I don't think anything like that will happen here. If you could somehow guarantee that every single person in the United States or even around the world can have perfect internet, I would definitely think that would be a sort of situation. But there are still people that pay for fucking AOL on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that for a second.
Rest in peace to AIM.
Yeah.
Okay, man. I don't think we need to go further into this question. To be honest, it's not going to happen. All right. Next question.
Can I just add in some extra points? Because
no, you can't. Go ahead, Brian.
I think that we are coming from it from an outsider's perspective, because I don't know. Well, I don't think that any of us here actually know the numbers of actually how many games are moving on digital and non-digital platforms. So I'm holding judgment until I actually know what the hell the numbers actually are, because for all we know, the infrastructure could be there. I doubt it, because the US internet laws again done by the moment, and the UK are following suit. So at least here in the West, the laws are quite dumb, but in other places it could be quite well.
Yeah, well, if it's the president of friggin' Square Enix, that guy's in Japan. That guy doesn't see what the internet infrastructure out in Japan, I hear, is amazing, as well as Korea.
Yeah.
So yeah, for them maybe, but not for here.
But it could be one of those situations where they look at the numbers and say, okay, we have a split which is in the odds doing well, and then following this trend of uptake that some guy made up in the US or the UK or something may say based on this information, in 2-3 years we may want to have a box out that does that. Maybe that's the case, and we just don't see that happening. Because all these things, they're based on trends and how things are trending towards the next 3-4 years, and then that's how they base off, or that's what they use to base off what models to make. So maybe people are looking at those trends and saying, yes, now is the good time to start, or maybe not now, but 2 years down the line. So I'm not saying that we will see it, and I'm definitely agreeing with everyone here saying yes, the infrastructure right now is not there, but we don't see what the trends people are making up and saying will be there in 2-3 years time. So hence I am reserving judgment. But either way, I don't think that it should go down this road, because as Brett said, I don't want my games tied down to an online connection, because if your internet goes down, or your Wi-Fi router goes down, or your ISP goes down, or some asshole decides cut your connection in one of those boxes, or some random oil company decides do an oil spill and cut the lines, or something dumb like that, then you're screwed. So no, less of that, please.
Yeah, no, completely agree with that one. All right, moving on. Next question. It's a funny one, but we'll answer it. Okay, what is the big deal about Nintendo Switch? I really enjoyed Mario Odyssey, but I already had Mario Kart on the Wii U, so I haven't played my Switch in almost 2 months. I got NBA 2K18 on it, but when I saw how inferior it was compared to other consoles, I refused to play it. I hated Zelda. How can you limit all the weapons, even the legendary Master Sword? So yeah, this goes back to something we've talked about many times. Why is the Nintendo Switch such a success? And because I got to jab him with this shit, I'm going to drop it on our resident Nintendo lover, Brett.
Okay, I see how it is.
Brett, I gotta give you some, man.
No, I feel you. I'm still eating that crow.
Actually, but we're the one eating crow. You're the one celebrating, man. What the fuck are you talking about?
I mean, kinda. So here's, it's funny because if you listen to the Throwdown long enough, it was a hard sell for me on the Nintendo Switch. I was a reluctant adopter, but here's the deal. If you want the highest quality game, you are going to not be playing on the Switch. But it's a sliding scale, right? So you are probably talking about playing on your console. Like, why would I play on the Switch when I could play on my console? Well, there are people playing on PC that are asking you the same question. Why would you play on your console when you can play on PC? And the answer you'll probably give them is convenience. Convenience actually has a lot to do with the products that we buy and how we use them, how often we use them, and then the products that we continue to buy tend to be the ones that we continue to use. So Switch hits a place where it kind of falls just below an actual console. It's a hybrid. It's a handheld. So a lot of people, most of the people that are really championing the Switch are championing that aspect to it. And so honestly, the Switch is going to pair better with somebody who has a PC. I've seen a lot of PC owners really enjoy their Switches because it makes a nice middle ground where they can, they can have a gaming thing to take on the go that's not their cell phone. It can actually play real games. But then they'll get home and they can, play huge graphic intensive games that us console gamers can't even load up on our consoles. So I think the problem and why you're not seeing the value in it is the two products when you compare, like especially the standard Xbox and the Switch, they're not actually far enough apart to not inhabit the same zone. And because you want your games to look the best, that's fine. When you get home, you can sit down and have your games look the best. But what about if you don't have access to the TV? What about if you want portability? Because portability doesn't just mean able to take it on the bus or in the cab. Portability means that your roommate is hogging the TV, or your wife wants to watch her shows, or the kids are, busy hogging the living room. It means accessibility even within the home. And so that's a big thing to people too. So the reason people are freaking out and loving the Switch is it gives them options on how they want to game. And what that means and translates to in the real world is it gives them more opportunities to game. So people generally like playing games, and if they can find a way to circumvent, when Rachel was around, we had 2 TVs and 2 PlayStations. But until we got to that point, it was a huge pain in the ass, and a lot of times we couldn't play games together until we just bit the bullet and just decided, okay, we're gonna have one of those 2 TV households, 2 TVs in the living room households. It was tough to game together, and a lot of people don't commit to that. I don't see many people who have 2 TVs in their living room or who want to put that kind of investment in just to be able to game with somebody else. So you have a whole nother audience there. So I guess the short answer is that just because it doesn't appeal to you and your specific gaming needs doesn't mean there's not a lot of people who don't have those gaming needs. And you're looking at it through the lens of, why would this be the only thing I own? And I don't think Nintendo has ever marched by, that beat. They have always kind of wanted to be the other game thing that you own. And that's their safe space. And that's where they've found success, especially in this go around. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, that was a good answer actually. Because again, it's funny because I have a Switch. I'm a games reporter. Even I'm like, why is this thing doing so well? Even I'm still confused. So I'm glad Brett is there to answer that, because I'm like, what? Why?
You have a dedicated game station.
Yeah, it's like, dude, I'm the same. By the way, Damien, I'm the same way. I haven't played my Switch since like middle of December. No reason to play this system. Let's just be honest. I got Monster Hunter. You can't play that shit on Switch,
Well, you can play one of the numbered Monster Hunters on Switch, I'm sure.
No,
they have the real series.
Yeah, well, there's no Switches. There's no Monster Hunter on Switch. Even though I heard Double Cross is coming to Japan on Switch. Hello, dog. Anyway, Carlos, go ahead. Carlos, man, you were saying something, bro. Get in here. Oh shit, he's coughing. Oh yeah, that's right. Carlos is still getting over sickness. Chris, get in here, man.
Yeah, I mean, Brett summed it up pretty well. I mean, I'm with you. I'm in the same boat. Like, I was completely wrong about its success, but we've all been saying going forward into this year, there isn't a lot to look forward to. And there's not a lot of titles announced. The titles that they did announce, like Bayonetta 3 and Metroid Prime 4, are that's vaporware until you see something, right? They those were just logos. They didn't have anything to show you. So that probably isn't happening this year. And again, they would need to have hit titles. They came out of the gate with Zelda. Like that was a highly anticipated game. It came out of the gate. I didn't predict how well it would do. Like overall, I thought like my bank was like Mario Odyssey, the more accessible game, and Mario, the more recognizable character, would be the system seller. So I was wrong there, and they both did phenomenally well. But they were both in the same year, and now that's over. So in terms of what to play now, I don't. I'm not playing anything now. Kristen's playing Mario Odyssey. She started. I'm playing Monster Hunter.
Yeah, I need to jump in here. I'm going to sound like a fucking asshole, but it needs to be said. I also think maybe not a good chunk, but a part of the reason Switch is successful is simply because it's popular. People like what's popular.
That was going to be my answer.
Yeah,
too,
people, they see it. It's being talked about by everyone. They're like, oh, what is the Switch? It's $300. Sure, I'll buy it. They jump in there. Word of mouth is helping out and stuff. And also, at least in the first year, its rarity helped it too. I know that sounds weird because but think about it like this: people like things that they can't get fast. They like rare shit. So just knowing that this system is rare, it isn't now anymore. You could buy it wherever you want, but just knowing that gets people to buy it even more. You know what I'm saying? So I think those two factors have to be considered as well, right? Popularity and the fact that hey, you're getting something not a lot of people have. Anyway, Carlos, go ahead if you want to expand on that.
Yeah, definitely the word of mouth when at the launch of the Switch was tremendous to its success, because as soon as that word of mouth got to spread out, everyone just jumped to it. It's kind of like like a flock of sheep. Like they all just went into the Switch and started saying Switch Gang and stuff. Remember, like there was a lot of those people.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're kind of quiet right now, but yeah, man, like the Switch definitely like the gimmick that they showed is something that hit an itch somewhere in the market. It's something that people that didn't know that they wanted it. So yeah, I think that's the main reason, because like if anyone tries to argue about the games, then they're freaking talking out of their ass, because like most of the games that are coming out for the Switch, we pretty much got for the Wii U, and the Wii U sucked in terms of sales. So I give it most of its success to the gimmick that it's presenting to everyone.
Yeah, I agree with that. Anybody else want to jump in on this? Why is the Switch so successful?
I think it's portability. We just go back to that. I mean, that's the key element there, and it's the whole novelty of playing some of your big titles on the go. People like that idea, even if they don't do it. I know a bunch of people that have a lot of the big games, and I'm included in that. And some of them I don't even bother playing, like Zelda, and I used to play a lot of NBA 2K18 and stuff like that. And it's fun for a little while. I'm like, oh wow, this is great, and just to know I have that in my bag, that I can whip that out. So I think that's the portability factor.
Hey, Adam, completely off topic question. Is that a new headset you got on, man?
What?
Is that a new headset you got on?
This is my Still series, the same one I've been using.
Okay, no, because I'm seeing like a light under. I'm like, I don't remember that light before.
Oh, I have it charged. It's charging.
Ah.
It's the wireless one, and it was beeping a few seconds ago, and I'm like, oh, all right. So I juiced it up.
Gotcha. Yeah, because it was red, and now it's like gold or whatever. Okay, because I was like, yo, is that a new headset, bro?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Oh, these are cool. I like them.
Richard Bailey Jr., what's going on, brother? He goes,
I heard of him.
Richard?
Yeah.
I heard of him.
He goes, now you know why it's called the Switch, because you'll be switching to another console before you know it. Rich, man, I love that shit. All right, and Solitary Zombie, Kristen, she goes, I agree with Brett. I played in handheld mode while someone is playing Monster Hunter. I wonder who that someone is. All right, man. Moving on here to my man, Wiz. So his first question, and I believe Wiz is also in the chat room with us, posing as Willie Robinson. All right. So his first question is, what cartoon do you think would make a great video game? Since I already got to play Tiny Toons, for me it would be The Amazing World of Gumball. This lets you know how young he is. I've never even heard of this cartoon, so I'm gonna have to assume it's a new cartoon. You know?
No, it's not. It's not that new.
Right.
It's been on for years. It's a Cartoon Network show.
Yeah. Okay. Basically, any cartoon made after 1995, I don't really know. I'm just being real right now. Okay, for me, and I'm gonna do some because I thought about this question. Okay, because I was like, man, I want a Thundercats, I want He-Man, I want Hills to Rocks. I'm like, no. A video game with all of that shit. Imagine a video game that mashes up every 80s cartoon you used to love into one. Kind of like what DC's doing with the Hanna-Barbera shit, just putting all of that shit into one. That would be insane. Transformers, fucking G.I. Joe, Thundercats, I don't know what the story would be. I don't care. That would be insane. Like every cartoon that I used to watch as a kid in a video game all at once. It would be like PlayStation All-Stars and shit, That'd be nuts. So that's my pick. I'm not gonna pick one cartoon. I'm picking them all.
Wait, so basically, Ready Player One, the video game?
No, more like actually PlayStation All Stars.
Kingdom Hearts.
Oh,
that jumped around
man, Barry, you bringing it back? Mugen, remember that shit on PC, man? Literally the fighting game that has everybody. You could have Homer Simpson versus Thor.
Oh, that is just an engine.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my answer. Every 80s that 80s video game. I don't know what that 80s video game. No, that 80s cartoon game. That's what I'm gonna call it.
The sad thing about the 80s. Everybody has these wonderful memories about the 80s. If you think about it, every single cartoon that you remember from the 80s
was a marketing ploy. They're trying to sell you
all
toys.
A fucking marketing ploy to sell you fucking toys. Every single one of them.
And Manny, in the spirit of that, I want this video game to have a line of toys because we're gonna capture that spirit. We got to do it right. I'm telling you, man. This will be the greatest video game of all time. Anyway, let me stop. I'm gushing right now. I'm imagining this will be crazy. Mask, throw everything in there, man. I'm telling you. Not My Little Pony though. We ain't about that life.
That all of a sudden that's just starting to sound like Ready Player One.
Yeah. I never read the book, so I have no idea what you're talking about. But every 80s action cartoon, at least the main ones, no Robotech though. You keep that shit out of there.
Man, Robotech was good.
Yeah, Matt Cross, man.
Wait, Robotech was good. Shut the fuck up. Just as long as you don't go all the way up into Mills Pita and Southern Cross, I think you're good.
You know what, Manny? I will meet you halfway.
You have to do Macross then.
Yeah, do Macross. I will meet you not halfway. I will meet you a third of the way.
You could put Techno Man in there. Well, no, Techno Man is like 90s.
Yeah. Anyway, Manny, cartoon. What cartoon? What cartoon are cartoons?
What cartoon or cartoons would I make into a game? You know what? I would actually like to make a Pirates of Dark Water game.
Ooh, I hadn't heard that in a while.
Damn.
I would say.
I was about to say something, but I was about to steal somebody's answer, so I'm going to shut up. Anyway, go ahead, Manny.
Yeah, I was going to say Pirates of Dark Water for one reason. Well, I think that might have been a 90s cartoon. But
yo, nigga, you were still a kid, man.
Yeah, I was still younger. So I would say that one because of the just because of how big and insane the story was for that thing, That's probably why I would do it, and it would be a nice place to expand the idea of it,
Yeah,
I would think that was it.
Oh shit! Okay, Chris, go ahead because I already have another answer too. But anyway, go ahead, Chris.
Well, I mean, I would say, I don't think the Gargoyles got a decent video game.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, I had a video game.
Not a good one, yeah. That I would, if you made, I mean, Gargoyles was such a great show. Instead, such a shitty adaptation. You could make something great out of that. Like that I'd like to see.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I'm gonna jump in because I thought you were gonna say something else, Chris. Even though this, I looked it up right now just to be sure. It did get a video game, but probably not a good one. Reboot. Remember Reboot? I'm like, that is a video game. Reboot. Yeah,
I don't think Reboot is as good as we remember Reboot being.
The same thing happened with Thundercats, but I want to remember it being good.
I feel like genuinely Reboot after it went off the air. and then those other episodes that they ended up showing later years later, I think those were the better episodes when Enzo got older and all that
with
other
the
shit.
beard and shit. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, because when it was on, I think ABC, it ended at the point where the world got destroyed.
Yeah.
And nobody knew what happened.
By the way,
Yeah, that was weird. And they came back, you're like, "Is this a reboot?" And they're like, "No, these are the original episodes." You're like, "They ended it here?"
Yeah. Do you mean they
episodes were already made.
reboot? They reboot. By the way, we're driving Mighty Nerd crazy because he loves the '80s stuff. He's like Jason the Wheel Warriors, Silverhawks, and Humanoids. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, and the funny thing about all those ideas is like, what if we had these guys who could like have holograms? What if the world lost all technology and everybody went into magic and had these holograms on their chest that shoot animal gods out of the people? I'm like, sure.
Yep. Hey, Chris, I got another one for you, man. Cops. Remember that shit?
Oh
Yeah, that
man,
was
I
fun.
love that show. I have the whole thing on DVD. Yeah, that
Nice.
that would make a great video game, man. Because they had such a weird cast of characters. Like the guns that they were carrying shouldn't be used on the street.
Yes.
That was a freaking
Well, one guy
bazooka.
had a bazooka.
That shot a laser that could melt a building.
Yeah.
And hey, you know what? And it's 2018 ready because it has a diverse cast.
That's right. The leader of cops was a black dude.
Yep, exactly. Adam, get in here, man. What cartoon
Bulletproof.
do you want as a video game?
I was just gonna say the Cops, Thundercats. I was a
Silverhawks.
big fan of Cops. That was a fun one.
Cops
Especially
was
that
the
futuristic
shit.
World, that futuristic world. They had so many cool villains and bad guys. It was fun. I missed that one.
Yep. All right,
Oh, I
jump in,
have a
guys.
fun one.
You go ahead.
Thundercats was the shit.
Yeah, Thundercats, man. Although that's another one that did not live up, man. And here's a quick story about Thundercats, right? When I was 15, Manny was 15 as well, right? They brought Thundercats over to Cartoon Network, right? We were hyped as fuck because we used to love Thundercats as kids, right? So we, I remember like it was me, Manny, and Evil Chris, as we call him. We got together at Mike's house. We're gonna watch Thundercats. It's gonna be fucking awesome. The intro starts. We're losing our minds. Like the animation is crazy. Then it starts happening, right? The show starts. We're like, okay. First break happens. We're like, I don't know. And then by then it's like, dude, I think Thundercats sucks.
Yeah.
So because of that, I refuse to go back and watch any of those old cartoons now. Even though Thundercats is still like the property is awesome, but man, that shit did not live up. And this was like 23 years ago when I went to it again. If I watch it now, I'd be like,
We have fought, and now we are friends.
oh my god. But yeah, Thundercats. Although I will say that new Thundercats show was fucking cool. When they rebought it back, and the new He-Man show was good too. Man, they fucked up. Anyway, cartoons. Carlos, get in
When
here. We need some younger guys' perspective in here.
I mean, when I think of all the cartoons of my childhood, they all were made into games, like Chippendale Rescue Rangers, Darkwing
DuckTales.
Duck,
Man,
DuckTales.
Chris's favorite Darkwing Duck.
Oh yeah, street that.
Oh, by the way, like when Chris was talking, I'm like, Chris just gave me an idea, like, because he suggested this in a Tanime. It's like, what if they made a Record Lotus of War game? And I'm like, they made one for the Dreamcast. I'm like, damn it, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right, they did. I never played it, but it exists.
Yep. So
Barry Burton says, fun fact, and this is actually kind of true if you think about it. Thundercats were nudists in the pilot episode.
Yeah,
They
that's
were
right.
naked. They were
clothes on.
naked.
Yeah.
Oh man, go ahead, Carlos. Voltron cartoon would be insane. Anyway, go
yeah,
ahead.
I really can't think of a like even like something like Hey Arnold that I liked has a video game.
Damn,
Like
that's
all
crazy.
those-
You made Kristen happy. That's her favorite show.
Oh, nice.
Hey Arnold. Oh, Hey Arnold's awesome, man.
Yeah.
You know what? Okay, I got an idea. So, shout out to Deep Silver, but Agents of Mayhem, it was booty.
Oh
what
no.
you need to
Adam's
what
happy
you need-
about that.
What, that was booty? I wasn't happy. I was just disappointed.
Yeah, I was disappointed. I played it. I tried to. I didn't finish.
I liked the game. I just couldn't. I had other shit to play. But you're right, Chris. That was like a Saturday morning cartoon in a video game form.
Yeah, but what they could do is get the license for the Tick and
Damn you, Chris! Damn you, Chris!
And they put it in like a next gen Saints Row city, like whatever this. Wait, he was just in the city, right? Make a tick game.
Oh my god, that would be insane, dude. The tick spoon.
Yeah, man.
Hey, Chris, you're not allowed to go before me anymore.
Anyway, Chris, go ahead. There's a guy in the comments called the homeless Mexican. Okay.
Wait, what?
Anyway, Kristen, keep an eye on him, please. Anyway, go ahead, Brett. Tick.
Oh, damn. That was my good one. I'd like to see a Freakazoid game.
Shit.
Freakazoid.
Let's see.
Oh my mother. Hold on. Mighty Nerds just fucked me up right now. Dinosaurs, man. Oh my motherfucking god. That was my show back then, man. Dinosaurs from space. Are you kidding me? Yeah, make that into a video game, bro. Sorry, Brett. Go ahead.
Did anybody ever see a cartoon called Magnus XLR?
Or
Yes.
You mean Megas XLR?
Megas XLR.
Yeah, Megas XLR.
Or,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
it. Megas XLR. I want a cartoon. I want a video game of that because I think it just that was an awesome mech, and I want to be able to pilot it and beat shit up. But the one I really want to see, does anime count? Does old anime count? Because I started watching anime real young.
Let's not count anime for this one. Let's just stick to like,
all right,
yeah.
All right. Final one, SWAT Cats.
Ooh, SWAT Cats. Manny,
Yeah,
what,
mention some new stuff though.
Manny, what was the name of that cartoon that Mike used to watch it late in the morning? It was like Exo Squad, I think it was.
Exo Squad.
They had a really deep story in that cartoon.
Yeah,
you know?
there was it was about like we created these blue like slaves, right?
Yeah, they created
like,
slaves,
essentially
yeah.
like let's say a slave replicant.
And what they do
guys.
is they rebel and take over the colony on Mars, and it's about a war between humanity trying to get Mars back from them. You know?
Yeah,
it did have a deep
man.
story.
Man, bring that back in general. That'd be crazy. You know?
Okay, Tony, new one, Avatar.
Wait.
Avatar
the
got a
Airbender?
game though. Airbender.
Yeah, the last Airbender.
Well, it's got tons of games.
Yeah, it's got a bunch
real
of games.
game.
A real game.
Like an RPG? It's like something like that?
No, I mean they made like the Legend of Korra. That was platinum. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a platinum game.
That's why I'm thinking if you meant real game like an RPG, because how would you tell that story, in a game?
Well, you can just have Aang fucking people up. You know, that's like an action adventure game. You know, that would be cool actually. You know, if you travel the whole world and stuff, you go to the Fire Kingdom and all the other shit. That could be cool. You know.
I know you said no, but I'm going to say it anyway. I want to see a Cowboy Bebop game.
You know,
Do it
why,
like
why
Hitman.
not? Why not? That'd be interesting. All right, man. Let's move on. That was a good question. Thank you
Dexter's
for that.
Laboratory game.
If we're going that far, Futurama.
What kind of game would that be?
That could be an RPG.
Oh no, they already have a.
Switch
No,
on from character to
it probably
program.
have to be like a Telltale type of game,
Yeah, could
What?
do that.
What are the new cartoons that we could make video games?
I don't know.
You're forgetting the big one,
Which one?
Rick and Morty.
I don't know if you could make
Oh.
a game out of that.
I thought they made
They
a
are
game
getting
out
it.
of it.
They're
Yeah,
getting a
that's
VR
gonna
game.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Get a game.
Oh, what about Samurai Jack?
Samurai Jack also has had a game.
I think most of these cartoons have already
Oh
had.
well, yeah, they've had horrible games. Like Pirates of Dark Water had a game too. It was like a beat 'em up. So,
Would
yeah.
anybody play the Invader Zim game?
Knowing Nickelodeon, they probably. Well, you know what it is? No, they didn't get a game because Nickelodeon didn't know what to do with Invader Zim at the time.
I can see that.
You know, when it first came out, they didn't know, they didn't understand why it was doing well, and they kind of, unsanctimoniously canceled it for no real reason.
Just as what's it called? A shout out. I wouldn't play this game, but I would respect it. A Johnny Bravo dating sim.
I had thought about that. I'd be like, wouldn't that just be Leisure Suit Larry?
Yeah, it would. It'd be like a PG.
Mild.
It'd be a G-rated Leisure Suit Larry.
Yeah.
Hey
All right.
there, buddy.
Yeah. Let's move on because we could literally stay on this question for the rest of the night. All right, man. Okay, this is an interesting one. Last week Brett and Brian went on a tangent about pre-orders. How can you convince people not to do it when Amazon and Best Buy's Gamers Clubs gives you benefits like 20% discount off of games? You know people get pissed off when you tell them how to spend their money. I just tell them to be smart. I pre-ordered Batman Arkham Knight on PC and most of its DLC for $18. All right, guys, take it away. This is for you two specifically.
Wasn't that one broken for the PC for the longest time?
Yeah, it was.
The
Yeah.
video card that you had.
Yeah.
I would say I have nothing wrong against, like, especially short-term pre-orders. I think when we talk about don't pre-order games, most of the time we're talking about don't go run out and pre-order a game when they announce it, because that's a bullshit metric that actually influences sales companies. The pre-orders for like the last week or two before release generally aren't they're kind of lumped in with the launch sales of the game. So just do your homework. Make sure that you really know that you want the game. Hopefully that they're not having a review embargo that releases the day before the game. So wait until you get reviews and you can get some information about the game, or you've been able to talk to or read about somebody who's actually had the game in their hand. Make an informed decision, and then yeah, you can roll the dice and save some money. I do it a lot of times too, but it's only after a lot of homework, and never more than probably at the most a week before the game releases. You get the game the same day, whether you order it off Amazon 3 days before release or 6 months before release. So just don't do it 6 months in advance, and you're pretty well fine.
Brian, come on, Brian, get in here. There's a address to you. Stop playing Warframe. I'm gonna start doing an impersonation of you. There you are. Go ahead,
Can you
man.
hear me now?
Yes.
What the? Why is Google Chrome keep switching off my mic? Anyway, I probably just echo what Brett says.
That shit for
Sorry to be boring this time.
Oh, why do they keep doing my? I concur with Brett.
That's hilarious.
Agree with the man called Brett.
All right, fair enough. Moving on here.
Wise man he is.
Yeah, let's move on, man. Mr. Joel Torres in the house. All right, he's asking us another one of these questions about something that happened in the past. Very interesting questions. Keep them coming, even though some of us may not remember some of this shit, but keep them coming. This is interesting. Okay, so his first one is, do you guys remember people getting angry that Super Nintendo could not play NES games?
Yes,
Right.
I was one of them.
Oh, really? Okay,
A lot
go
of
into.
parents were angry, and
Yeah.
retailers were angry because they thought they were going to lose money.
Yeah.
Because at the time, remember, NES was still selling.
Yeah. Even back to when it first started. Yeah, I remember being annoyed about that.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "What the hell is this shit? Why doesn't it play the old games?
Why
That was
can't
our
the
first
cartridge
taste
go in
of
there?
what
Why can't the cartridge go in? And don't tell don't anybody at that time. You don't tell me you didn't try to stick your fucking Nintendo game in there and see if it worked.
Like, oh man.
No, man. Because again, what do we know? We're a bunch of fucking kids. Man. I mean, granted, there was a lot of adults out there, but yeah, of course I was annoyed about that, and I'm sure a lot of other people were annoyed. In fact, the first time we ever even heard of backward compatibility, a cough, PlayStation 2.
Yeah, the fat
Yeah,
one.
even though we didn't know this as kids, obviously, but the Sega Genesis was backwards compatible with the Master System. We didn't really know that back then, though.
Nobody gave a shit about the Master System.
Yeah.
Well, wait,
Come on.
didn't you need a power base converter?
Yeah, you needed
Yeah.
a converter for that.
Yeah.
You know
It
what?
was a whole
I
thing-
think our boy Mike had that because he was a big Sega guy.
Yeah, it was a converter, but the converter needed power.
Yeah, he did.
It was
that's
like
right.
a 32X that
It
went
was
backwards.
it was essentially like a 32X, but backward compatible.
Yeah. The thing is, this is one of those interesting things. I know this happened, but I don't really remember it at the time because, in my mind, I'm like, okay, there's a Nintendo, there's a Super Nintendo. They're different. I didn't really, because, when you're a kid, you don't really consider money. My mom was obviously pissed off, like, why can't I play this shit? But I'm like, because they're different, But you know how even back then I saw the world very black and white terms. I'm like, yeah, it's different. They can't touch each other. But yeah, like I said, I mostly knew about it later on. I think I remember mom just saying something about it once, and that was it. But yeah, again, it's just like your question about the Capcom 5. We didn't really know it was even called that until years later. Because remember back then, there was no internet, obviously. There, we had magazines, but we didn't really know what other gaming communities talked about or whatever. Your gaming community was your gaming community was the dudes in your neighborhood. That's it.
Yeah, it was the dudes in your neighborhood, the people that you knew at school. I mean, and the most connection you had with the exterior gaming community was probably through magazines.
That's right.
Sending in letters and stuff like that.
That's right. So things never really built up big like that. Even in like the mid 2000s, it wasn't like that. Okay. Thank you for the question.
But I was annoyed, and I remember reading about people being annoyed about it. So
yeah,
I mean,
it makes sense why they would be. It makes perfect sense why they would be annoyed. I would actually say it's. Not justified, but it just makes sense that they would be annoyed. It's like they bought a Nintendo. The shit is still really popular, still making games for it. Why can't the shit play on my Super Nintendo? That does make sense, Okay, next,
and then the other question is like, okay, let's say you do buy your Super Nintendo, and if you remember, they were still releasing some new games, quite a few years into the lifetime of the original of the Super Nintendo. Excuse me. So you okay? So let's say I think the final Mega Man 5 was the last one to be released on. Was it 6?
6, yeah.
Yeah, because Mega Man 6 was the last Nintendo one, right?
Yes.
So think about it. That's well into Super Nintendo era. Why couldn't you play that on your if you only owned a Super Nintendo? You couldn't play that. You'd had to invest in the original Nintendo if you didn't have one, and you only need Super Nintendo, and you can't actually play that game. So it would have been smart for them to do that then. But if you remember how those things were designed, it's just each one was a different development environment than the last.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't meant to be backwards compatible. No, not really.
Sega was essentially still using a lot of the similar parts. And some things were interchangeable between the Genesis and the original Master System. But yeah, you still had to, there was still that investment that you had to make.
Hey, Adam, in that book, didn't they actually say that Nintendo did consider backwards compatibility, but it was just too difficult engineering wise? I think I could have sworn. I think I could have sworn something like that was said in there. It's like they wanted to do it, but it would cost too much money. It would be too difficult. Shit like that. I'll have to read that book again.
I don't remember that part. I remember them talking about making the second for the Super Nintendo, and that they just felt that they could have both of them on the same market. That's what they were telling retailers, that not to worry.
That actually sounds more like a Nintendo move, to be honest.
Yeah, that sounds like a Nintendo.
That sounds like a Nintendo move. That sounds
very similar to what's going on right now, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
There's different markets. There's the ones that just want to play those games and it'll be at the same price, and then there's the people that are ready to move on and it'll be at a higher price, and then when those people are ready to move on, they can move on. So they felt that it would be okay.
Yeah, that sounds like Nintendo. Remember, Nintendo hasn't actually evolved business wise. They're still the same.
Well, they kind of repeat the same sorts of things over and over again.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that movie's taking forever to come out. It's supposed to come out this year.
Oh yeah, the movie based on the book. That's right. I don't know. It's weird. Okay, let's move on.
Who's playing Miyamoto?
Yeah. Okay.
Ken Watanabe as Miyamoto.
Manny, I'm glad you said that, because our next question is about Mr. Miyamoto. Okay, so he goes, why is Miyamoto helping to make TV shows and movies based on his games when he hates stories in games? Chris, is that true that Miyamoto hates stories in games?
I don't know if he hates stories in games, because he's been developing stories. Look at Pikmin and stuff. Maybe he hates complex stories. I don't know.
I think it's complex stories, because that's kind of what happened with Mario Galaxy. That game was actually there's actually a bit of a deeper story with Rosalina that they kind of somewhat cut out.
Yeah, I think he doesn't want to end up like Square, when he never wanted Zelda to end up like a Final Fantasy, to keep things simple. But the thing with him now is he's kind of pushed aside. You notice he's not really working on the main games directly. He's not the face of Zelda. That's Aonuma's the face of Zelda, and is it Miyazaki who's the main guy for Super Mario Odyssey, main producer?
It's the guy who keeps showing up on stage for the for the Switch things.
I keep forgetting his name, but he led the charge against Odyssey. If you see interviews with this man, he says literally the same thing with the Swim Trunks Mario and Cappy as a principal. He said they ran both by Miyamoto, and he said no, they did it anyway. Right. So that just told me all I needed to know. It's like this man has a window seat. So now they put him to kind of oversee the third party stuff, the licensing. They pushed him more towards licensing. He doesn't seem to be an active part of the game development anymore.
Mm-hmm. Which kind of goes into what a lot of stories that have gone on about Mr. Miyamoto and his quite cutthroat attitude about certain ideas and things, and his, from what a lot of people think that he also stole ideas from other developers, like the Star Fox developers and stuff like that. So I mean, I don't think it's that foreign for him to be developing these sorts of things. Nintendo in general, it does not want to let go of Miyamoto, because remember when they said that he was going to retire and take a whatever role, and everybody went no, and got afraid that he was leaving Nintendo or some silliness.
It's like that would even matter, Come on, let's just be real. Let's just be real. If he leaves Nintendo, it's not going to impact him.
If he left Nintendo, it wouldn't matter. But I think that if you think about it, Miyamoto is seen as like the Walt Disney of Nintendo.
Oh yeah, no. It would matter in like in terms of optics, right? But I'm talking about like within actual game development, it wouldn't do anything.
It wouldn't anymore.
So that's what I'm trying to say. It's like the guy. Listen, the guy. Yeah, they probably does have a Windows seat because he doesn't have anything to do with the day-and-day shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, man.
Some of the games that he had to do with didn't do so well. I mean, Star Fox for the 3DS, that was one of his babies, and that thing did shit, didn't it?
No, it's you mean the Wii U version, Star Fox Zero.
The Wii U version. That was wasn't that one of his babies right there?
Well, yeah. I mean, Star Fox is a complicated story, and maybe if someone wants to ask a question about it, I could explain the whole thing with Argonaut and Dylan Cutbirth and all that stuff.
Yeah, we'll get into that another time.
The short version is he had platinum developers sitting in Kyoto in Nintendo's office so he could oversee the development of the game, and we saw how that turned out. I think that was the last straw for a lot of the upper management. I think the guys, especially like Kimishima, was just like, you know what, you should step back and we'll let these guys take it over.
Yeah. Now, mind you, these guys are no slouches, because the guy who developed this Mario game, didn't he develop also Mario Galaxy as well?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
And when he brought up Cappy, the story is that Miyamoto was butthurt about Sunshine, and the hose, the whatever, the backpack was like sentient, right? That old story. So when they brought up Cappy, he said, no, absolutely not. That didn't work the first time. And they just said, they did it anyway.
Yeah.
And look how well it turned out,
Yeah, and I agree with Barry here. Rest in peace, Gunpei Yokoi. That man needs to get more fucking credit, man.
See, that's the real guy right there. I mean, granted, you can't knock any of what Miyamoto did, but also Gunpei is also a key player in the Nintendo world.
Yeah, but after Virtual Boy, they
kind of disavowed any sort of information when they gave him the window seat after the Virtual Boy.
Yeah, it's fucking sad, man.
They do not like a failure. You do not fail.
Even though their best successes was based on his stuff. I mean, the clamshell stuff, all the way from Game & Watch, your DS, Game Boy, that was all him. He designed all of those.
Metroid, that's him too.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. All right. And the final question from All Day Digital. All right, this is an interesting one. He goes, so I guess there's a misconception about God of War having, the new God of War having skippable bosses. In fact, Cory Barlog said there are optional bosses in the game. How that got misconstrued, I don't know. Why is this even a thing being talked about? What do you guys think of the situation? All right, so basically, Cory Barlog came out and said that the game's going to have optional bosses that, I guess they're like extra bosses. But apparently, I'm learning this from the question. People turn it into you can skip. The game lets you skip bosses. Here's the thing: it's two sides of the same coin. Yes, you can skip bosses, but you can't skip the main bosses in the game. There are optional bosses, and correct me if I'm wrong
missions,
here.
right?
What happened?
Maybe it's like side mission bosses. Like if you do a side mission, then
that's what. Here's the thing: the reason that's being brought up, and this is just me guessing, is because I forgot what site wrote this nonsense, but they basically said they want games to let you skip bosses. Like boss battles are the worst parts of games. I want to be able to skip them. Some bullshit site wrote this stuff. So people are saying, oh, that's what's going to happen with God of War. They're going to let you skip all the bosses. No, there's going to be optional bosses. But yes, you can say you could skip them. So there are skippable bosses in that sense of the word. But the main ones, the important ones for the story, you cannot skip those. So don't twist it,
So it's sounding like the exploration of their world is a little bit bigger than previous God of War games.
That's what it sounds like to me, because no God of War game had optional bosses before.
No, they never had any optional bosses. Like once you started down the river, you continued to go until the river stopped.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, Weapon X brings up a great point in the comments. There's optional bosses in Bloodborne.
Right? There is optional bosses in Bloodborne. There's bosses that you don't even need to fight.
Yeah.
I've seen it in speed runs. People just running past these dudes.
I would say put it more, there are secret bosses in Bloodborne. The only thing I'd be questioning about is, did they parse down the necessary bosses to 2 or 3 easy boss fights? Like how do they handle this? Because if they are accommodating that crowd that says, I don't want to have a hard boss fight. I don't, as Tony and I were talking about the other day, I don't want somebody gatekeeping me away from content. Are they going to try and divide it where, it's real easy to get through the game, but then here are these optional side bosses that are really hard that you can go fight? Like that kind of leaves a bad taste in my mouth too.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have enough information about that.
They actually did show an example of the beginning of maybe one of those optional boss quests in the game. There was this one part where he goes, where they showed it was like they walk into this cave and they see this giant monster walk into this like it looked like a door or something like that, and then there's this little bit of side story, and he goes, Corey, I don't quote me on this, but he said that this section of the game is optional.
Yeah. As to All Day's other part of the question, why it's being turned into a big deal. Fanboys want something to bitch about. Let's just be real here. God of War is going to be one of the biggest games on PlayStation this year, so the fanboys are obviously trying to knock it any which way they can. How they jumped on the whole, the game doesn't have a jump button, it's going to be trash. But at the same time, just to be fair, there are people that are worried about the direction that this God of War is going in, that they may see this like, oh man, they're changing even more shit. So there is a part that's, the concerns are genuine, and the other half is just fanboy fuckery, But again, we don't have enough information about this to really say anything one way or another,
I think it's interesting that you have the ability to play stuff that are, stuff that will enrich the game, but they're not mandatory things. So it's like, oh, hey, look, you found this little side route. Holy shit, this leads to another section of game. Oh, wow, there's another boss here. Awesome.
Yeah,
but that's how they sold us DLC. So no, it'll be additional content. Yeah, and we all see how that turned out. So
well, no, I mean, I see it the same way as you just said. What some of the Bloodborne bosses are. They're bosses that don't exactly stand in the way of the general progress of the game. They have their own bit of lore. You can go fight them if you want, or you could just keep going down the river.
Yeah, as long as there's an adequate number of bosses that aren't optional, then I think it's a non-issue.
My only thing is that everybody's talking about how you're talking about, some of these people are talking about how bosses are hard and all this other BS. You know what? I have to say this about bosses. At least they actually say that they're freaking bosses. They didn't just throw a bunch of 1,000 enemies at you and call that the conclusion of the fucking game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which is something a lot of games do nowadays.
Which is what most games do. It's like they taper, it's like they have all these really great stuff, and then once you taper it out, it just boils down to them throwing thousands and thousands of people and calling that the ultimate challenge. No, man, that's not the way you should do it.
Like kind of how The Last of Us does its last level.
Yes.
But we'll gloss over that because it's Last of Us. And
No, we're not gushing over that. That's a fact. Last of
We'll
Us. Yeah.
gloss over that because it's Last of Us, and Last of Us can do no
No.
wrong.
Well, you know,
That's-
it's funny.
yeah.
People got pissed
Anyway.
off about the actual boss that's in Last of Us. You know which one I'm talking about.
One
That
in the
big-
gym hall.
That one in the gym, yeah.
That one's
People
stupid. I
complain
hated
about
that
shit.
boss. I complained about that because it was too gamey. You know, it's like the game's trying to lead you on this like cinematic experience, and all of a sudden, oh, here's a video game thing. It's like, come on, man.
And
this is
it's the
stupid.
only time that thing ever appears in there. I
Yeah.
thought he was going to
Oh, no.
appear again.
Yeah.
I swear it like appears twice, like in the tunnel as well.
No, it does, and that's right. 2 times in the tunnel. That's right. I didn't like that thing. You know, it was because it's like
Yeah.
it's literally hitting you with the infection. That should be game over right there. You know, come on.
Nah. He's got main character powers. Don't worry about him.
Stupid.
Everybody else down.
But you're right about that. Like, not every game, but most games, that's the final part. 1 million enemies at you. Even Hellblade does that shit. You know?
Yeah, Hellblade did that at the end too. I was like, we never like you kind of never really get to face any sort of big enemy. It's always those same like they do have those big monsters that you got to fight at some point, but like yeah, it's always the same thing, and I think that's the somewhat of the biggest downfall of games these days is that nobody knows how to make a boss anymore. Everybody wants to just throw the same enemies at you and be like, they're harder now.
Yeah. 2 God of War's credit, you know, the recenter God of Wars, they give you both. Like at the final part of the game, you're gonna face 50 million enemies, and then after that, you're getting that crazy ass final boss. You know?
Yeah, like you always think about you think about the original God of War fighting friggin' what's his face, and he had Ares, and he had those 3 different forms that he did.
Yeah. Fun thing about the first God of War that people don't really talk about, that game only had 3 bosses. The game is like looked upon as like, oh, it has the greatest boss fights of all time. Only 3 of them. The Hydra,
There's only 3 of them.
the Hydra, the Minotaur, and Ares. That's it.
Yeah, but the
That's
thing
what
is
that
that
game was really short.
What happened,
It
Brett?
was.
it's a short game, yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like I
One of
feel
the
like
pieces to complete it in 5 hours.
I feel like it was used in the right way. At least from what thinking back and playing it again on PS3, I feel like it's good for what it is. You know, it gives you the right
Hey,
amount.
you already know how I feel. The first God of War is still my favorite.
That's my favorite too, because I feel like it didn't run too much into that section where they're constantly throwing the same sorts of enemies at you.
Yeah.
Like some of the Temple of Pandora, I think there's some different enemies out in the Temple of Pandora. There's also enemies that are all just specific to different areas. I liked that sort of idea too, whereas essentially we're not, okay, yes, you're going to be throwing some enemies at me, but at least they're going to be different types, you know, not just the same old goons, which they were all over the damn place.
Yeah, for sure. But
Yeah.
yeah. Go ahead, Brian.
To go back to what Manny said about it's cool having areas where you get different boss fights. My main concern with that is because of its nature that it's like side content. People may not go and see that side content, so hence developers may want to make like lower quality bosses in those areas. And do you have an issue with that if that's the case?
That's a good
if it
question. That's a good question.
Yeah, like if they had a less than stellar boss fight like on off the beaten path. I
Yeah.
mean, I love that discovery. That would be so awesome if you just found this fucking kick-ass boss and he's just off to the
Yeah.
side somewhere. That wouldn't be
It
kind of
is.
cool.
But then, like,
It feels like a genuine find. You know what I mean?
yeah. But then, like, and there's something that you've said like multiple times. Like, most people don't finish games. So on top of most people not finishing games, then there's also there's like side content of monsters that people won't even get to see. So I don't think that developers will put in the time and effort to make those as like on par with like your normal ones. And like I'm actually concerned about that. It's like then we're going to get less of a game that my line of thinking is I'd rather have a game where all the boss battles are on par with each other and you face them all, rather than some of the bosses are subpar and you may not see them. I just don't like that case. Like,
Hey, Brian, I got a question for you.
The wrong way.
Are you worried? Because I'm kind of worried about it the other way around. What if the side bosses are better than the main ones?
Unless they're from Soft, I don't think that's the case. Like, but that's one thing that FromSoft does well. Like, their side bosses, and I'm talking about like the bosses that you don't have to fight in Bloodborne. They are like really good. So unless they were taking cues from those guys, I don't see that happening. So I hope that is the case. I mean, that'd be damn awesome. Like, give me like good reason to actually play the game. But this is just me trying and hoping that that's the case. When deep down inside, I fear that that's not the case.
Yeah, I mean, I have faith in Sony Santa Monica, so I'm not really worried about that. But yeah, I'm worried like, yo, what if the side bosses are better than the main ones? It's possible, because my line of thinking is the side bosses will probably be more challenging than the main ones, and that'll make them more fun. You know what I mean? But it's like, oh shit, people aren't looking at these guys because they're just sticking to the main story. It's like these bosses are better than the main ones. So that's my line of thinking.
Yep.
I'm thinking that these bosses are going to be better than the main ones.
Yep, I think that's actually a good approach. Hopefully that's the case. But then again, I'm not really looking forward to the combat system in that game. It looks a bit,
Brian's like, things that make you go,
I don't know, like, I need some hands-on time, like, just seeing it, I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, this doesn't seem that fluid, doesn't seem that smooth. It seems rather just hope for the best, wishy-washy, rather than just like, okay, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll do this, I'll do that.
Okay, Brian Stelbart says the side bosses in Kingdom Hearts are better than the main ones. Okay.
That being Sephiroth and the genie thing. The funny thing about a lot of those additional side bosses, they weren't actually in the main game that was released in Japan. They were actually used that extra development time to add these additional bosses to the game.
Yeah. By the way, I'll sneak it.
Kind of like the extra weapons in Final Fantasy VII. I think there were 2 of them that were not in the Japanese release.
Yeah, Ruby and Emerald. You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll sneak this question in here real quick. All Day's asking, are you guys excited about Kingdom Hearts 3? Nope, don't care. I never played those games. Don't give a shit about this one. I'm just being real.
I'm excited. I'm probably the only person that's ever played those games in here. So yeah, I'm excited to see it.
Okay, Manny, since you are that person, why are you excited?
Well, that means fucking Kingdom Hearts 3. I mean, how long have we been waiting since Kingdom Hearts 2? Seriously, think about how many years it's been.
Think about it like this.
We've had 2 generations of consoles in between that time.
Kingdom Hearts 3, or the question, where's Kingdom Hearts 3, was a running joke on X-Play. Who is opening up chips right now? It's Brett.
Not me.
Yeah, it is you. Because your icons. There you go. So this is a running joke for almost like 15 years, basically. I'm guessing, the fans are obviously excited. Like I said, I never played those games. Don't really care,
Yeah, I mean, I want to see it. I want to see what's going on. I want to see what the story is. Where is it going to go? I mean, the graphics for the game look very nice. So yeah, they keep piecemealing every single bit of stuff in there, which I wish they would not fucking do.
I heard that they actually showed more footage this weekend, but I've been playing Bloodborne. I've been playing Monster Hunter, so I have no fucking idea.
They showed like a new world, the Monsters Inc. section of the Monsters Inc. section. The great thing about the original Kingdom Hearts games, they didn't do bullshit like this where they literally start showing you parts of the fucking game. Stop it. Give us a release date, you fucks. That's all we need.
I heard the release date's going to be announced at E3. That's what I heard.
Oh, whatever.
And it is, and Square says it's this year, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm not. Listen, I'm the type of person to say, release the damn thing when it's done. That's all I'm going to say about that. I mean, I don't. What's a little? Another few more a year of waiting? Because in the whole scheme of things, it's already been a long time. It's more than we've more than waited enough for this game to come out. Now, here's the one thing I want to say. One thing I want to know about it. Like, here's the thing. Like, I never played any of those DS games or the PSP games. I just want to know the one thing about this is that I hope they at least if you didn't play those other side games, right? Would you be able to at least continue in the story from where you remember it, coming off from in the Kingdom Hearts 2? Because it seems like Sora is in a lot different he's older looking, he's in a bit of a different looking place in this game than he is in the first two. So hopefully, they don't do some silliness where like, hey, go and play these other games and then you'll know what's going on in this one.
Is Jelly Hole Osman, or whatever the fuck you say his name, Haley Joel Osment? Is he the main guy again?
He's always been Sora, so they probably will have him back in there. I mean, what the fuck is he doing?
He's gonna be like, "Hey guys,
Seriously.
I'm Sora now."
No, the guy is one of those people that just has a naturally young sounding voice. So now he just doesn't need to sound like a kid anymore. He could sound like himself and still kind of pass for like a teenager. You know what I mean? Like his voice didn't change, so like it's like kind of like Elijah Wood. Like Elijah Wood's voice never got like, "Hey, I'm Elijah Wood." Like he's just, "Hey, I'm Elijah Wood," and that's it. It's like, okay, he can work as as a 20-year-old guy, and he could also work as a younger guy too. So it's the same with Haley Joel Osment. He just has that light voice.
Yeah, and last quick one from Brian Stelbart. What are your predictions for Final Fantasy VII and Shenmue 3 release dates? I don't think either of those is coming out this year. I could be wrong.
Yeah,
though.
I don't know about. What was it, Final Fantasy 7?
Yeah, 7 remake.
Final Fantasy 7. I feel like that's going to come out whenever it's coming out. I'm not even holding on to anything for that game because it's going to come out anytime soon. And for Shenmue, same thing. I don't foresee that one. There's nothing that shows me, at least with the Kickstarter stuff, that shows me that they're going to be coming out with that game anytime soon.
Yeah, and Lewis, Secret of Mana. I have the game now. Actually, look out for my. I think Impressions is Thursday, so look out for those on Thursday. Cool. I did play a good chunk of it beforehand though. All right, so that's gonna pretty much do it. I don't really have any outro shit here, so we're just gonna wrap it up because everybody here wants to play Monster Hunter already, and I'm pretty sure half the guys in here are playing Monster Hunter because it's been me and Manny talking for the last half an hour. All right, man. So thank you for watching and listening. Subscribe to Throwdown on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. And I'm just going off my fucking head right now. Leave us your questions in the comment section of this episode here on YouTube or on the Coalition, and we'll answer them on next week's show. Follow us on Twitch, Mixer, Twitter, and Facebook at Throwdown Show. Links are located in the description below. Once again, our show is Tony Polanco, joined by Emilio Lopez.
I'll see you later, guys.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Take it easy, everyone.
Brett Murdoch. Yeah, he's probably talking right now.
Hey, everybody.
There he is. Adam Vale.
Have a good week, people.
And Brian Manjoma.
Life lesson. Smile. It confuses people.
Yeah, what's going on, Black Oni? Our boy Will Wiggins. We got to get you back on the show again. Anyway, man, we'll see you Thursday. Later.
Later.
Peace.